Salam and Buriti News 24. You're tuned in to our Sunday edition of the day's top stories. It's the 25th of Jawza 1404 in the Afghan solar calendar, corresponding to 15 June 2025. I'm Shabnam Waziri, bringing you the latest key headlines from across the country and around the world, right here on Zeer News 24. The United Nations has issued a joint alert, stressing that Afghanistan is at a critical stage in the fight against malnutrition, especially among children and women. Immediate, coordinated and targeted measures are needed, the agencies say. In this joint call, UNICEF, WHO, WFP, FAO and UNFPA urged global, regional and national stakeholders to intensify and align their efforts to address all forms of malnutrition. Afghanistan is currently among the 15 countries with the highest rates of child malnutrition. It's estimated that 35 million children under the age of 5 are suffering from acute malnutrition, with 1.4 million of them facing life-threatening conditions. 4 in every 10 Afghan women are also affected. Due to food insecurity, drought, and ongoing economic hardship, 9.8 million people face critical food shortages. According to UNICEF, 9 in 10 children are food poor, with around 2.1 million lacking access to essential and diverse nutrition. OCHA warns, cuts in humanitarian aid threaten life-saving support. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has raised concerns over dwindling funding for aid in Afghanistan. In its latest report, OCHA warned that funding cuts could leave millions of Afghans without access to essential food and humanitarian assistance. The report also highlighted the forced repatriation of Afghan refugees from Iran and Pakistan, noting that many returnees are in dire need. In response to the worsening situation, government representatives are set to meet next week in Brussels to assess Afghanistan's humanitarian outlook. 27 Afghan prisoners freed from Pakistan and return home. Afghanistan's Ministry of Refugees and Repatriation has confirmed the release of 27 Afghan nationals who had been detained in various parts of Pakistan. According to the ministry, the individuals were held for periods ranging from 1 to 5 days before being released and repatriated. After receiving humanitarian assistance, they were transported to their respective hometowns. Coal mine collapse in Samangan kills 4 workers. A tragic incident in Dar-e-Saf Bala district of Samangan province has claimed the lives of 4 coal miners. Provincial police spokesperson Hashmatullah Rahmani confirmed that the collapse occurred at a coal mine in the villages of Laila and Kobe. The workers had been trapped in the tunnel for 3 days before their bodies were recovered and handed over to their families. The victims were originally from Ashtalai district in Daikundi province. 15,000 domestic tourists visit Herat's historic sites over the Eid holiday. Herat's Director of Information and Culture, Maulawi Ahmadullah Mutaki, reported that during the recent Eid celebrations, around 15,000 local tourists visited Herat's cultural landmarks. Popular sites included the Kala Ikhtiaruddin Citadel, the Herat Museum, the Jihad Viewpoint, the Great Mosque. Officials note that Herat's tourism sector has significantly improved in recent years, aided by a more stable security environment. Second Afghan transit cargo ship docks at Gwadar port. Pakistan's Minister for Maritime Affairs, Muhammad Junaid Anwar Chaudhry, announced the arrival of another commercial ship carrying Afghan transit goods at Gwadar port. He described this as a key step for enhancing regional trade, stating that Gwadar can serve as a practical and alternative route to international markets for Afghanistan. This marks the second such shipment under the growing economic cooperation between the two countries. That concludes the national news segment. Now over to our colleague Zeer Safi for a roundup of international affairs.
Israel sought Trump's backing for strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. U.S. officials declined due to risks.
U.S. media report that senior Israeli officials asked Donald Trump to support efforts to eliminate Iran's nuclear capabilities, but this request was declined by the Trump administration over concerns about potential risks. Israeli officials indicated they wanted American backing for possible operations, but U.S. officials warned it could adversely affect national interests. Although one Israeli official claimed Trump had pledged support to Netanyahu, both Trump's office and the White House have denied any such formal commitment. After Israel carried out strikes in Iran 2 days ago targeting senior military figures and scientists, the U.S. Secretary of Defense stated it was Israel's war and the U.S. was not involved. Iran has warned that any intervention by others would result in their military centers in the region being targeted. European nations push to defuse Israel-Iran crisis. Germany, Britain and France, 3 key European countries, have initiated efforts to cool tensions between Iran and Israel and to revive nuclear dialogue between Iran and the US.
Netanyahu urges Iranian civilians to steer clear of military sites. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned Iranian civilians to distance themselves from military installations for their own safety. He stated that Israel will continue strikes on Iran's military targets, but wants to protect the civilian population. His remarks followed a recent rise in tensions and military exchanges between Israel and Iran. Israel's defense minister also warned that if Iran maintains its threats, Tehran will be burnt. Debate among Trump supporters over support for war with Iran. In the US, many right-wing politicians and analysts are questioning why Israel's strikes on Iran should have America's backing. They warned Trump that this war does not serve US interests and that America should stay out of it. Tucker Carlson, a prominent voice in the MAGA movement, has argued, if Israel wants war, that's their right. They are a sovereign nation, but they shouldn't drag America into it. He wrote this on the network's daily commentary, accusing Netanyahu's government of being war-hungry and urging the US not to join them. The debate is also playing out within Trump's Republican Party. Some support action against Iran, while others consider it an unnecessary conflict. Thousands of Americans protest Trump from Los Angeles to Florida. From Los Angeles to Florida, thousands of Americans have taken to the streets to protest against Donald Trump. Demonstrations, under the slogan, "No one is above the law, not even Trump," have been planned in around 2,000 locations across the country. Protesters have warned that Trump is attempting to override democratic principles and seize absolute power. The rallies also highlighted support for voting rights, freedom of speech, judicial independence, immigrants, women's rights, and minority protections. Demonstrators emphasized that no one is above the law and vowed to stand against dictatorship. Former Minnesota senator and her husband shot dead. In Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, a gunman disguised in a police uniform fatally shot former state senator Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark Hortman on the 14th of June. Police described the attack as politically motivated. Earlier, Senator John Hoffman and his wife were injured in Champlin. Authorities found a rifle and a list of politicians in the suspect's vehicle, suggesting a politically driven intent. The FBI has launched an investigation as officials classify it as political violence. Deadly attack in Nigeria kills at least 100. In Benue State, Nigeria, armed assailants launched an attack on Yewanaata between Friday evening and Saturday morning, killing at least 100 people. A human rights organization condemned the attack and urged the government to halt the ongoing bloodshed. They highlighted that these assaults not only force people from their homes but threaten food security, as many victims are farmers. State officials reported 45 deaths and burnt homes, but locals claim the death toll may exceed 100. Such violence in the region is often rooted in clashes between Fulani herders and Christian farmers over land and water rights. Trump administration to bar visas for citizens of 36 more countries. The Washington Post reports that Donald Trump's administration is preparing to restrict or deny U.S. visas to citizens of 36 additional countries. A State Department memo signed by Secretary Marco Rubio and circulated among diplomats outlines the plan. The list includes 25 African nations like Egypt and Djibouti, along with countries in Central Asia and the Caribbean. Previously, Trump had already banned full U.S. entry for citizens of 12 countries: Iran, Afghanistan, Yemen, Libya, Somalia, Myanmar, Sudan, Chad, Haiti, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Eritrea. Now partial restrictions may apply to citizens of Burundi, Venezuela, Cuba, Turkmenistan, Laos, Sierra Leone, and Togo. South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung to meet world leaders at G7. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung is set to attend bilateral talks with world leaders during the G7 summit in Canada from 15 to 17th of June, his first major foreign trip since assuming office. His office states he aims to advance economic cooperation and tariff issues with the US and Japan. He is also scheduled to speak on energy security and artificial intelligence. Helicopter crash in Uttarakhand claims 7 lives. In northern India's Uttarakhand state, a private helicopter traveling from Kedarnath to Guptakashi crashed on Monday morning due to poor weather, killing all 7 on board, including a 10-year-old child. Officials say investigations are ongoing, and all flights to Kedarnath have been suspended until Tuesday. This marks the 5th deadly aviation accident in the mountainous state in the past 40 days. That's all for now, more updates coming soon.
Thanks to Zeer for the global headlines. Now let's turn to the world of sports. Afghanistan's Mehdi Aslami wins silver in South Asian Bodybuilding and Fitness Championship. Afghan bodybuilder and fitness athlete Mehdi Aslami has secured a silver medal at the 15th edition of the South Asian Bodybuilding and Fitness Championship. In the final standings, Pakistan claimed first place, Afghanistan took second, and India placed third. The championship, hosted in Thimphu, Bhutan, kicked off on the 10th of this month and concluded today, featuring participants from 8 South Asian countries. Ghazni volleyball tournament concludes with Masir Aftab crowned champions. In Ghazni province's Jaghori district, a volleyball tournament featuring 25 teams came to a close with Masir Aftab taking the championship title. In the final match, they faced off against the Omid Dala team, securing victory with a scoreline of 3-2. A separate volleyball tournament in Sirk Parsa district of Parwan province wrapped up today, involving 6 competing teams. The final saw Umayya going head-to-head with Jawan and Arman, with Umayya claiming a clean 3-0 win to clinch the title. That's all for today's news roundup. For more updates, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at Zeer News 24. Until tomorrow's broadcast, goodbye and take care.